How are you doing, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ron Swanson. We're joined tonight, special guest, TJ Dominguez, the former pilot of Pablo Escobar. A very interesting gentleman. We've been talking ahead of the show a lot more to him than just this segment of the story, and we're gonna delve into some other areas of his life as well as the main meat of the story. But TJ, thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to meet you, and thank you so much for giving up your time. Let everybody know. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll get cracking.
Okay, thank you very much for having me and for that description of special. I don't think I'm all that special, but thank you.
You're welcome. So, TJ, I mean, I imagine the story of Pablo Escobar.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Great. Can you hear me? Yeah, that's all right.
I couldn't.
You couldn't hear us. That's okay. Can you hear us now?
Oh.
Hello? That's much better.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me, TJ?
I can't hear you.
I don't. I mean,
Sean, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Ron and the.
Hello, Sean.
Yeah. No, I'm Ron, but I can't.
I can't hear you, Sean.
All right. Well, let me just try this 1 second. See what we got here. I don't know what's happened, Rob. Did you get a phone call? Can you hear me now? I don't know what's happened to teach. Everything was working fine before we went live here. So just bear with us. I think TJ's frozen now. He may be receiving a phone call. I'll wait and see. We'll give him a few minutes. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. It's been an interesting couple of days here. The CIA call savage. We're going to be trying some new stuff. I'm very excited, and hopefully we'll be telling you a little bit more about that soon. TJ has just dropped, so it may be the case that we just give him a few minutes. But how's everybody doing? Like, let me know how you're doing. Let me know in the side chat. It's been an interesting year. I think, for all of us. And there we go. TJ's back.
I'm sorry,
that's right.
Sean. Are you there, Sean?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Ron, but can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, Ron. Sorry about that.
That's right, bro.
I apologize.
All right, awesome. Just let us know, guys, if there's any more problems with sound or anything. But look, TJ, let's dive into it. Let's dive into life before the pilot, life before like Escobar, and what sort of who you were before that chapter of your life began.
Okay, I was the guy that you went to school with. I was the guy next door. I never, thought of myself as anything other than the guy next door. Good, just an average guy. But saying that, I grew up in North Miami. My mom and dad came from Cuba. My grandparents are from right down the street from you, Spain. And I'm native of Miami, and went to school there. My dad in Cuba was a senator. I come from a very, very wealthy family, very down to earth, but very, very wealthy. I don't know if you know anything about sugar factories, sugar mills, production of sugar. My mom and dad owned sugar mills in Cuba. The world's largest sugar mill belonged to my mom. My dad had 5 of those. Any sugar mill, Ron, by today's scale, would be worth $40–50 million. Okay, just to give you an idea, on a small version and very conservative. So I grew up from a very solid, grounded family of values. And what happened in my life was my dad wanted to do another sugar mill, sugar factory in Haiti. Out of all places, Haiti was very attractive because of the workforce was tremendous, and the manual labor, obviously, needless to say, was very cheap. So my dad set out to put up a sugar factory in Haiti. I'm going to give you a long story short. And along the way, after investing, I don't know, $9 million or so, X amount, he got cancer. Unbeknown to me that he had cancer, He was writing a book, and in that book, he left me instructions of what to do in his absence. He passed away on his dying bed. I must have been about 19, 18 at the time. And on his dying bed, my dad said to me, please, son, finish the project. Finish the project, the sugar mill. Well, to finish the sugar mill project, Ron, I needed an additional $14 million. Okay. Yeah, strap me with 19 years old, and I need $19 million to do an undertaking that will be employing thousands and thousands of people and consist of 40, 50,000 acres. So it wasn't a small task or a small mountain that I had to climb. But I'm my dad's son, and I'm focused, and I swore up and down to him that, yeah, Dad, don't you worry. I will make sure that the sugar mill project gets done. I don't have any brothers. I have two sisters. I had a mom that, that didn't work. They don't know what's going on in the business end of it, because it was my dad that headed the whole family, and everything was always on his shoulders, So what happened next was I went ahead. My dad passed away. I put on my Brioni suit, which is one of my favorite brands, and grabbed my dad's briefcase, and I went to the bank because we had a bank commitment for $14 million. Bank commitment, for those people that are out there that are not really up to speed with what a bank commitment is, kind of like a contract. If you do this, we'll do that, and based on what you do, we'll go ahead and fund the rest of the money. And we basically had done like the down payment on the sugar mill and the project. I had all the permits from Haiti, from the Minister of Agriculture, from the Minister of Finances. We had government from the president, contracts to be able to take the money out, out of the country. So that would all done very, very legal. I've never broken the law. Okay. And I'm very law abiding. I know that's a hard thing to swallow, but it's true, because I was raised that way. And here's where everything went kind of south, Ron. I went to the bank with the briefcase. I told the president of the bank, Abel Holt, God rest his soul, I said, here I am. I want to execute the commitment, the bank commitment for the sugar mill project. And then he looked at me and he says, look, Tito, he said, you're too young, you're too inexperienced, you don't have the expertise to head this project. The only reason why we were doing this loan to the sugar mill project was based on your dad's background and the fact that he's one of the most knowledgeable people in that industry at the time. So I'm sorry, but we cannot honor the commitment to you. Wow, that was like a bucket of cold water. What do I do now? So he says, I'm gonna suggest a couple of other lenders that are a little bit more aggressive, And I said, okay, fine. I walked out of there, and I spent 2 years knocking on doors. Now I'm defaulting on everything that my dad had built. Okay. And what kind of kept pushing me in the direction of, let's just get this thing done, Tito. I'm talking to myself now. One guy a company that I went to see, guy's name by the name of Ruben Rodriguez was his name. Okay. He was president of a lending institution. And he said, yeah, kid, I could do this. I could do this loan to you. I like everything, because I presented him with a feasibility study and all the documents, government certificates and so forth, very legitimate. And we were going to do something good for the country, because it was going to employ a lot of people, So he said, but listen, in order for me not to waste my time, you have to deposit in an escrow account. I don't know if you know what that is. An escrow account is kind of like sacred, can't be touched, a lawyer's account. You have to deposit $100,000. So I said, all right, $100,000, maybe today it's not that much. But back then it was like, gosh, it was like, 10 times that, 5 times that. It was like $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, it seemed like. I put $100,000 on his hand. And then I get the commitment from him that he's going to give me the $14 million that I needed to complete the project. Well, let me tell you, Ron, one day turned into a week turned into a month, and now no money's coming forward. And I'm asking him, and it's always a but this and but that, and tomorrow, mañana, and I'm not seeing the funding taking place. So one fine day I go back a month later, and as I'm going in there, I hear yelling in the office, screaming. And a guy comes running out of that office, really upset. and I'm hearing this through the door. Okay, so as I've got the door by the handle, the guy pulls the door open, and he's looking at me. And he goes, "What?" And I go, "What? What?" And then he looks at me, and I said, "What's going on?" And now picture this. I'm basically 19. I'm very naive because I've lived under my dad's kind of shadow, and always believing in the righteousness of people. The guy said, "The guy in this a thief, man. I'm going to the authorities right now to report him. He stole my deposits." And I said, "What?" And he said, "I gave him $100,000." He said, "Look, kid, if you give him 100,000, you got nothing." At that point in time, I decided that I couldn't go in there. I couldn't face this guy. I didn't know what to do, Ron. I did not know what to do. So I left. I went to my car. I sat in my car, and basically I was talking to myself. What do I do? And I reasoned with myself. I said, "Well, look, if I go to the authorities, it might take 3, 4, 5 years to get my money back. And there's not going to be any guarantee that I'm going to get that money back. This guy could maybe go bankrupt, whatever. And what am I going to gain out of it? I don't want to see that guy in jail. I just want what belongs to me. I've got a project my dad saddled me with, left me with, that I got to complete. And I gave my word that I was going to do that." So I didn't know what to do. So I decided that I cannot go to the authorities. The authorities are not going to help me, and it's not going to put the money in my hand. And if they do, it'll take too long. So I came to one conclusion. I need to get the money back. So what did I do, Ron? I kidnapped the son of a bitch.
All right.
Yeah. I went over there, came up with this crazy story about I have some investors that want to give him money, and if we can go out, he can meet them. I called up a couple of my buddies that were in the marijuana business. This is high school stuff, right? They were in the marijuana business. I said, "Hey, listen, Mike and George." I said, I need some help, guys." He said, "What do you need, T?" I said, "This guy ripped me off, man, and I need to grab this guy, and I need to put him someplace." So he says, "Well, what do you want us to do?" I said, "Can I borrow your farm, one of the barns?" And he goes, "Well, what do you want to borrow that for?" "I want to put the son of a bitch in there, man." And he goes, "All right." I says, "I need you guys to act out the part that you're Texas guys with a lot of money and go with me to his house." So he goes, "All right." So we went over there. We're going to go for breakfast. And I said to Ruben, "Look, Ruben, these are my buddies from Texas. They got oil money. They're looking to invest in real estate. They want to look at this property before we do anything. Would you mind if we drive over there together?" He goes, No, let's go." I say, "Yeah, maybe you could do some of the financing for them." So we go over there, and we go into their farm. We go in through the gate, and as we go in through the gate, there's a house, a barn there. Open up the door, and my buddy Ruben walked in, and my other two buddies, and I walked in last. One of my guys got in the door. At that point in time, I tapped Ruben on the shoulder, and I said, "Turn around," slapped him really hard, grabbed him by the ear. And by the way, I've won all kinds of tournaments in real karate, not Hollywood karate, real from Okinawa. So I am a black belt for many, many years, and I pride myself in having a lot of control. Okay, I don't fight upset or anything like that. But I grabbed him by the side of the neck, and I put my finger on his face. I slapped him a couple of times, and I told him, I said, "Look, don't talk. I want what you stole from me. I know you stole my money. Look out that window. You're not going to see that sun again unless I get my effing money back." And I pointed my finger at his nose, and I slapped him lightly a couple of times. I said, "I don't want a penny more. I want what belongs to me." He started quivering. His lips started shaking. And make a long story short, I got my money back. Oh, yeah. And then, yeah.
Did you feel like the law-abiding citizen mindset sort of had to? Was that when it first went? Was the kidnapping?
No, that was the first step. But look, I kidnapped the guy. Yeah, I did that. But I reasoned also with myself. I said, I'm going to kidnap this guy. But the truth of the matter is, this guy's not going to the authorities.
Hell yeah. We've all kidnapped the guy, TJ. Trust me. We've all kidnapped the guy, right? Don't worry. It's just 1 minute. It just happened. I'm with you. It just happened. Okay. The guy took your money. The guy took your money. Exactly. It's not kidnapping. It's just a very serious conversation. That's all. It's a serious conversation.
Yeah. Well, you get life for that nowadays. You can get life for kidnapping. But anyway, I that's what I had to do, and I did what I had to do. After that, I kept knocking on doors looking for the funding for this project, $9 million. Now I'm like maybe 2021 because 2 3 years have gone by. I'm defaulting on the loan. Now I owe the government of Puerto Rico. I owe them $790,000 in a sugar mill that we bought for $3 million. They're calling, burning up my phone. Blah blah. You got a balance here. I know I got a balance there, man. Shit, I can't sleep at night with all this pressure that I got. So I go and I meet this other guy, another gentleman, about 47 years old. His name is, it'll come to me in a minute, his father was a president of Cuba, okay? And he owned a bank called Intercontinental Bank. He owned that bank at the time. So,
Okay.
and my dad, having been a senator, the paths were there, the family history was there. So I go see him, and I tell him what I'm doing and what I've got going on. The guy goes, yeah, man, sounds interesting. He says, yeah, it's something that we could do. And I like to see it. He says, let's go to Haiti. So I said, well, here's what I propose to you. I propose what some people call like a waterfall deal. Well, this is the way it would work. He gets 80% of Jump Street, okay, and I get 20 until he's fully reimbursed. When he has no more skin in the game and there's no more money and he's been fully made whole,
Yep.
then it reverses. He gets 20 and I get the 80. And he was okay with that. He goes, okay, that will work.
Nice.
I said,
Nice.
okay, so let's go to Haiti. So now we go to Haiti. We're there. I take him to the Minister of Finance. I take him to the Minister of Agriculture. I introduce him to everybody. We go outside and see the land that we acquired and the office. And the guy says, oh, this is wonderful. He said, it's a really solid project. Yeah, that was amazing. I said, yeah, thank you. He says, we're going to do this. I said, okay, tomorrow we'll go to the lawyer's office and we'll sign up the contracts and draw up all the papers. And the guy goes, yeah, okay, good. So we go ahead. The next day came, we're both staying in the same hotel. I was in the top penthouse, and he calls me up about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. He says, hey, listen, I talked to my backers last night. I said, okay. He says, you need to come down here and talk to me. I said, well, we're going to spend the whole day together. Why do I need to come down at 7 o'clock? He said, because there's something that we need to discuss. I said, all right. So I got dressed. I went down to his lobby. And while sitting there in the lobby, he looked at me and he says, look, it's a great deal. We're doing the project. I said, okay, I thought we had already agreed on that yesterday. He said, but there's going to be one little minor change. I said, what's the minor change? He says, going to be 80 permanently. I said, what do you mean 80?
Minor change.
Yeah, you believe that, crowd?
Right. This is going to end
that's
beautifully. This is going to end beautifully, I can imagine. So anyway.
Yeah, it really did. Because now I'm getting pushed and more pushed. I'm kicked to the curb. I feel like an abused child or dog, right? And I didn't like this. So I looked at this guy and I said, but that's not what we agreed on in Miami. He said, look, kid, you're green behind the ears. Welcome to the real world. This ain't Miami. This is the real world. You want this deal or not? He says, without me, you got a pipe dream. You got nothing. That still resonates in my head. I looked at this son of a gun and I said, all right, my dad raised me to be an honorable person and true to my word. I'm going to make you a promise. I said, the last airplane going back to the United States leaves this island at 3:30. If you are on this island at 3:35, I'm going to put you inside a little bag. And I don't break my promise for no man.
Mm.
I suggest you leave the island. Needless to say, he believed me. He left the island. That night, I went to the terrace, my penthouse. I was in the 10th story, a hotel called Cartel, Haiti. Pitch black. And I sat on the terrace, and it looked like I could reach out and touch those stars. I grabbed a bottle of some vodka or whatever, and then I had a long talk with my father, who was dead. And I said, look, Dad, you're not going to like what I'm going to do. You're not going to approve of what I'm going to do, but I'm tired of asking people for things, for money. I said, I'm going to make this sugar mill work, and I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to walk in your shoes, okay? But I'm going to get it done. That night, I went to bed. The following morning, Ron, I became a smuggler. I came to Miami,
to
and
be
that's
honest,
what changed everything.
It's just traditional sugar and booger sugar. They're very similar products. I mean, I can see how the smuggling can happen, right?
Yeah.
What came first, the pilot license or the?
No, I never got licensed, man. Because let me again be very blunt. I didn't become a pilot to get a job with American Airlines. That came way after.
You can't start off the podcast with "I'm a law-abiding citizen," and then at every single part of this, right, just go trundling off the edge. It's just wild, right? So So basically,
I didn't want to become what I became. I didn't want to do all of that. I wanted to finish the sugar mill and do what my dad raised me to do. Listen, the only thing that I did really, really bad would be speeding tickets. I have a fetish for speeding, you know?
2 minutes ago, you kidnapped a guy, TJ. Okay, he's like, that's business. That doesn't count. That's not my social. That's not my real life. That's business, and that's how I see it, bro. It's funny.
Well, it's exactly the way it was. Let me add this to what you just said, Ron. That son of a bitch could not go to the authorities because he created a crime before I did what I did. All I did was just grab him to give back what he stole from me. So what's he gonna do? Go to the authorities and say, "Oh, by the way, I stole the 100 grand from this guy."
Oh yeah, someone stole 100 grand from me. They're going in the back of a van, DJ. 100%. 100%. And do you know what? They've made it happen. So that doesn't really count.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I was looking for a profit. Like I said to him, I just want my money back. I don't want a penny more. I don't want any more money than what you stole from me.
Hell yeah. And listen.
And that's what I got.
Oh yeah. Okay, so let me be honest with you, right? And forgive me if this is like, being forward. Was did you not finishing the sugar mill, right? Did you feel yourself being drawn to money, larger sums of money? Because the sugar mill was quite successful anyway, right? I mean, that was a massive industry. What was it that swayed you from getting things finished?
Well, I mean, I was on a quest to finish the sugar mill project. And then the only way that I got tired of asking people for stuff. And if you got to put yourself in my shoes, it was the 80s and cocaine was rampant. Marijuana was rampant. It was the times of the days. And I see all these people around me. We have more banks open in South Florida than any other place in the United States. The economy revolved around that underground funding. So it wasn't like it was in everybody's face, And I said, you know what? I mean, the Capital Bank at the time, the guy, it was all funded with that type of money, So we had, like I said before, I could name a whole string of banks here that I'd rather not. That all came from those days. Sure. Those days. So I'm saying, well, I'm the bad guy here. Look at all this shit that's going on around me. So you know what? Anything they could do, I'm going to do better. So that's what I decided. I was down to 100 years.
I love the fact that you didn't have a pilot license. Like, this just makes this whole thing even better, right? So I mean, I'm not being funny, right? But I mean, I'm
a businessman, and I know how to make money.
Listen. Being a businessman is one thing. Having the balls to get in a freaking metal tube and just be like, I'm going to learn how to drive this thing. Like, you got to understand, I'm terrified of driving, let alone flying. So, what was it like? What was that? What was that learning?
Well, let's go back to square one. Before the plane came to speedboat.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
And before the plane,
take us through that journey. Let's take our first step into the smuggling.
Because when I said to you that I left Haiti, that's that night that I decided to become a smuggler. Now, I was down to $100 and some thousand left, period. Now, my mom, my sisters are all naive to what's going on. They have no idea. Listen, Ron, I've never smoked a joint in my life. To today, I don't do anything. I'm scared of all the goddamn drugs. I don't even like that. I'm telling you, people that know me know. No, ask any one of the people that have been around me since school. I don't do that stuff. I really don't. I don't even like taking aspirins. I think about that twice. So I go ahead and I decide I want to become a smuggler. I'm after not the high. I'm after the income, the dollar bill. That's my high. That's what I'm after. I'm chasing hundreds and I'm chasing millions. So I'm down to $100 and some thousand. I come back to the States. I called up a cousin of mine who was a boat guy, and I said, "Hey, listen, cuz, I want to buy a speedboat." He goes, what do you want a speedboat for? You're a car guy. And you got my boats whenever you want to go out. No, because I said to him, I'm going to become a smuggler. He said, a what? I said, a smuggler. He goes, Tito, you don't even smoke. Oh, what's wrong with you? I said, listen, I'm not asking for advice or suggestion. I just want you to guide me and tell me where to go to get a good boat for a good price. So I get a speedboat. I get a 32 footer. I think it was 32 footer, twin 454s, 1,100 horses in the back.
What year was this roughly?
This was early 80s. It was a brand of the boat that I got was a Scarab. Very good looking boat. I got pictures of it. You should have pictures of that.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah. And
there's definitely both here. 1 second. Here we go. The white one, right? This is a nice boat.
No. That's for sports. That's later on. Okay. My first boats were speedboat. That's a sports. No, that's a speedboat, but that was kind of like running around stuff. That was not really a smuggling boat.
Okay. If I find any more, I'll throw them up on the screen. Don't worry. You just,
well, here. Let me for your listeners and viewers. Let me make a little note. When you see a boat like that one there with numbers and crazy graphics and crazy colors, and people go, "Wow, that thing's got to be like a smuggler boat." Wow, look at it. It's just amazing. Negative. A real truth. That's the boat right there. That's a smuggling boat. When you have a smuggling boat, you want no numbers, no graphics, no nothing that will make that boat separate from everybody else. Why? Because the government has airplanes that they fly on top with a strobe camera that will take 1,000 pictures. If you've got that only one boat, they will ID your boat. Sure, they can't arrest you on that, but they put these pictures out in all the marina, and then they'll tag that boat, and then now you're on the radar. So a real true smuggling boat is plain black, plain blue, white, something stock. You want to blend in. You don't want to be that only boat. And then obviously what you do is when we go out there, the FL numbers, which is the registration, you put tape over it so they can't read that. You put tape once you clear out here and you're in the open. So when the airplane flies by to take stroke pictures of you, it's like, whatever, 500 pictures in a New York second, then they blow that stuff up and they can't track it, they can't ID the and that's really funny. I know I'm jumping around, but a couple of times when we were being buzzed by the Coast Guard jet and they're like taking pictures of the boat, right? Bam, 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 bam. One of my two guys that were on the boat with me, they were characters. I'm wearing a baseball cap. I keep my head down. So when they take a picture of you, your face doesn't show up. Well, one of these two character buddies of mine, they bring masks. One was the face of Nixon, a mask, a whole mask, and the other one was a gorilla. So as they're coming by to take more pictures of it, they're up there throwing their hands up in the air, going like this at the camera. I could just see the government developing these pictures of the president of the United States driving a smuggling boat with a gorilla.
It's wild to think the differences between the surveillance of now and then. I mean,
I actually think it's easier today.
You think it's easier today?
Yeah, I've had this argument with 100 people. Don't forget, I just left prison not too long ago. So I know what's going on in there, and I know what's going on out here. And there's too many boats out there. There's too many registrations. It's impossible. I think that I read a statistic one time that if all the agents from customs you show up all at one time, they can only ID like maybe 10% or 7%, something like that, because it's just overwhelming how many boats are coming back in. 5 o'clock in South Florida, we got more boats registered here than any other place on the planet, and the islands are right down the street. So it's harder today because, and here's something else that I want to, bring up. Before, in the 80s, Ron, everything that came into the United States came into South Florida. We had an opening of, let's say, 200 miles, about 400 kilometers. Everything came through these 400 kilometers. And it went to California, it went to Colorado, it went distributed throughout the whole United States. And then things got so hard that everybody started moving a little further away. They went to the west side of Florida, then they went to Texas, and then they went to Arizona, California. And the point that I'm trying to make is that where everything was coming in 200 miles. Now everything's coming in 3,000 miles. In California, hell, you can walk it across, jump it across, helicopter it across, walk it across, plane. So you see where now you have a broader distance to cover. You got 3,000 miles now, more or less, versus 200. And the proof is in the prices. California, Denver, Colorado, and Texas, when cocaine here in South Florida was going for 45, 50,000, California, 70s, Texas, 70s, Colorado, Denver, 78. That, what does that tell you? It came through here first and then it got distributed. So everything came through South Florida. And it was very, very difficult because we had a lot of agency, Coast Guard, Marine Patrol, the regular local police, DEA, ATF, so many agencies all looking for those speedboats, guys like me coming in, or the pleasure crafts. So it was very difficult. And when you say to me, and I've heard other guys say, well, yeah, but you know, it's you know, the technology. Well, listen, man, that a lot of that technology was there back then. The only difference is we did not have it.
Mm.
We didn't have the GPS. We didn't have the sat nav. We didn't, you know, we're out there hitting.
Yeah. You've seen the boats that have been like shot with satellite weapons, right?
Yeah, it was so hard to hit one point in the middle of the ocean. They hit one pin-sized point without GPSs. You know, you have to be Columbus, and even he made mistakes. He found America, right? He thought it was the Indies.
Yeah, hence why we have Indians, right? Because the guy was looking for India.
Exactly.
Looking at the boat, right? Let me just get some nerd questions.
Right.
Here. So obviously, like in my head, this is basically like your Han Solo here, right? So how much yayo could you shove in one of these things?
1,000 pieces. 1,000 pieces
or pounds?
Kilos. Yeah. When I say pieces, it's kilos. I wouldn't know any. Yeah, I wouldn't know anything else. I've never even. I couldn't tell you what a gram looks like because I never went that. You know, I dealt in kilos plural.
Yeah, you know.
Let me tell you a really quick story about that boat. By the way, that boat right now today, that boat never survived. That boat is sitting on the bottom of the ocean about 10 miles outside the shores of Miami Beach. It broke apart. You know, it broke apart.
Was it empty when it went down?
Yeah, it was empty. But I lost all of them. Yeah, that one. But I lost 3-4 boats. I lost 4 or 5 people that died along the way. Yeah, but funny story about that boat was a boat. I bought that for myself. So now, if I didn't go back, because when you said scary, one of the scariest things I've done is I'm not really a boat guy, you know. I barely had to learn how to drive that boat. You know, I always had cousins and friends of mine that had boats with skiing and all that nonsense, you know. So my cousin, I certainly don't know how to navigate, right? So I'm trying to talk my cousin into going to the Bahamas with me because that's where I needed to go and buy weed, right? The Bahamas. So my cousin says, hell no, I'm not doing that. My cousin wanted no part of that. So he said to me, oh, he says, I know this old Cuban fisherman. Maybe you could talk to him and maybe he'll go with you. I said, all right, man, introduce me to the guy. So I go meet the guy and I have a really nice conversation with the guy. Got the guy pretty much interested. And the guy goes, so what do you want to go to the Bahamas for, man? What are you bringing back? I said, weed, man. He goes, what? I said, you know, weed. He goes, I'm not doing that. He said, I'm too old to go to jail. And I said, but it's weed. He said, I'm not doing that. So I said, but I need to go to the Bahamas. So he said, all right, do you know anything about navigating? I said, no. He said, all right, take the stern. I said, stern, I don't even know what that means, man. The stern, front part of the boat. All right, talk to me, front, back, rear, left, and right, you know? So the guy goes, all right, take the ass end of the boat. Put that against Florida, Miami. I'd be pointing east. Now, go ahead and throttle down. I said, what kind of boat you got? I said, I got a speedboat. It'll do 80, 90, 100 miles. I'll forget all that. You don't need all that speed. Go 20, 30 miles. I said, all right, throttle down. He says, now look forward. Keep looking forward. Now, he says, look back. When you don't see lights anymore from the United States, look at your clock, your watch. He says, now within the next hour, you should see lights up ahead. When you see the dim lights within that hour, head to those lights. That's the first island. It's called Bimini. So obviously, the next question I said to him was, "Well, what if I don't see lights within or in that hour?" He goes, "Hell, turn around. You're lost. Don't keep going that way. You're not going to hit anything. You're going to run out of fuel. Go back." I said, "Go back." He goes, "Yeah, don't get scared, kid." He says, "United States is a big country. You'll hit North Carolina, Key West. You're going to hit something, but don't keep going forward." And that's how I found the Bahamas. That's how I started.
Wow.
And then, needless to say, when I found the Bahamas and I found Bimini, I didn't know where to go. I didn't have any contacts. So I put in into the northern island, and I saw the lights. There weren't that many hotels at the time. There was bright lights of a place called Big Game. And that caught my eye. And I said, hell, I'm playing in the biggest game of my life. I'm going to dock in there. So I docked in there. I remember I almost took the dock master into the water because I forgot that to stop a boat, you have to put it in reverse, right? I threw the damn thing in neutral. I almost dragged him into the water, banging up the speedboat and everything. Yeah, man. What did I know, right? My heart was going through my, that 1 hour looking for that light. It was scary. And so I get off the boat and I go see the dock master. I look around, there's nobody else there. And the guy was about as young as me, right? I was in my 20s. And I say to the guy, "Hey, listen, man, I want to buy some weed." And the guy goes, "Oh yeah, no problem." He pulls out a couple of joints out of his pocket. I'm like, "No, man, it's not what I got in mind. I want bales." And he goes, "Oh, bales? For that, we got to go see my uncle." So I said, "Okay, well, how do we do that?" He goes, "So I get off in a couple of hours. Go get a room." I said, "Nah, I'll stay in the boat." I had $25,000 in a brown paper bag. I didn't want to leave alone. So I stayed with the boat. Then he gets off. He calls his uncle. We meet. I meet with the uncle. And then that's how I started. I bought about 200 pounds of weed from the uncle, which got into an argument in the middle of the ocean because we did the exchange in the ocean. Right now, I was $5,000 short because the guy asked me, "How much money you got?" I said, "I got enough money to buy whatever you bring me." Well, that didn't work out that way. I was $5,000 short. So we're arguing in the middle of the ocean. And I'm thinking of the whole time, I don't have a gun in the boat. I got a knife, and I'm pretty good with bows, knives, and all that. I was really into all that martial arts stuff. So I'm saying, well, there's two of them in their boat. The one guy that I was worried about was the guy that was far away from me. He was like 40-something years old. I worried about him because I couldn't reach him. The guy next to me, no, not a problem. We tied both boats together. They put a couple of 100 pounds in the middle. I took a dive knife that I had tied to my leg. I cut a window in it, make sure that I wasn't buying oregano from these guys because, everybody knows they're all pirates, So it was weed. And then after arguing, this I got to tell you, the guy kept telling me, "Hey, man, there ain't no credit here." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not asking you for credit, man. I'm asking you for a little bit of a break." And the guy goes, "Don't you understand? There's no credit in the business." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I hear that, man. But, listen, man, just trust me. Hey, man, there is no credit in this business." Then the guy in the back goes, "Let the kid have the weed. I think he'll come back." I turned around and I said, "If I don't come back, I'm either in prison or jail and dead. But I will come back. I'm honorable, man." And the guy goes, "I believe you'll come back." Well, I bring the weed. That same night, I bring the stuff into Miami. I score it, right? Following morning, what do? I don't have anybody to buy 200 pounds of weed. So what do? I call those two Texan buddies of mine that played the role of the kidnapping. They were in the weed business. So I called up Mike and I say, "Mike, man, I want to show you." He goes, "What do you got?" I says, "Yeah, I got to drive by and show it to you." "All right, come on by." I go over there. I bring a couple of 100 pounds. And he says to me, "Wow, what'd you do? Find that?" I said, "No, I brought that in." He goes, "You're not in the business." I said, "I am now." He says, "Well, what do you want for it?" We went back and forth a little bit. And it was $500 a pound we agreed on. So he says, "All right, fine, come back tomorrow and I'll have the money for you." I looked at Mike and I said, "Hey, Mike, ain't no credit in this business." Just like that. I'm a fat study. Ain't no credit. He goes, "Damn, Tito, we went to school together, man." I said, "Mike, I worked too hard. There ain't no credit in this business. I want my money, man. I'll bring it back tomorrow." He goes, "No, just go have a beer. Sit over there, and I'll have the money here in a couple of hours." He brought me $100 and something thousand, and that's how I started. That's what got me in the industry. And then things kept happening, Bahamas, there's no weed growing in the Bahamas. All the weed that I was buying from the government. Okay, I had that guy's uncle had a friend that worked for the government. So I was buying the weed that they were confiscating from people.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's funny too, because the custom guy goes, well, we're supposed to burn this weed that we confiscate. I said, hey, that's not gonna be a problem. I got people in Miami that'll burn it. And you can make a lot of money in between. So I started acquiring. And then now I've got a few $100,000 that I've actually accumulated. I buy another boat. I put two more friends of mine from school together to drive these boats. Got to remember, staying focused to my mission was I need $14 million. At $100,000, it's going to take me forever. I already defaulted on all these loans and everything. So I decided to buy another boat. So now I got two or three boats back and forth, and I'm looking at the big picture, and I'm becoming the orchestrator of this whole enterprise that I'm actually putting together, not with a plan, but just at living and making it up as I go along. Now I can't get enough weed in the Bahamas. There's not enough weed in the Bahamas for me. So what's the logical thing to do? Well, where does wheat come from at the time? Nobody was doing homegrown. Nobody wanted homegrown wheat. Wheat comes from Mexico and Jamaica and Colombia. So, and Colombia was the wheat that everybody wanted. So I said, man, I need to buy an airplane and I need to go to Colombia to go get the wheat. I can't go down there and speedboat. And then that's how I started getting into the airplanes.
It's quite a wild transition,
Yeah, it is. It is.
And in your mind, was it extra? Was it how much? So if you could do 1,000 kilos in the boat, 100 kilos in the boat, what could you do in the plane?
In the airplane, all of that varies, Sean. It's so funny. Like I saw the American-made movie. I don't want to take shots at Barry Seals. He was a friend of mine. Not really a very good friend, but it's a guy that I knew. And you see all these things where people tell you, I got 10,000 kilos in this airplane. I did. No, it's negative. Depending on how much weight you put on the airplane, you're going to cut back the distance of the airplane to go. When I was working for Pablo, they wanted me to go deep in the jungle. Most people picked up on the coast, okay? Because you don't want to go inland. Because when you're going inland, you're also running the risk of getting shot down by the military, by the guerrillas, people in the jungle that want to bring your plane down because you're flying at treetop level. You're flying at 300 feet above the ground. I landed the airplane many times in the Bahamas with bullet holes all over it from people that were taking pop shots at the plane.
Let's pivot. Let's pivot into when you started basically running for Pablo, and how quickly after you started flying did that happen?
Okay, I had never any intention in going into the coke world or business. Those guys were the bad boys. Those guys were the violent world where people were getting killed. The weed guys were just, they might choke on a slice of pizza or something like that, But that was basically the way it was. It was peaceful. That was my first airplane. We call that one the Hangar Queen. That's an amazing story behind that airplane. I thought I had I thought I did a great deal when I bought that airplane. I got robbed, and yeah, I really did. But that's a twin Beechcraft, and that's what basically those are the airplanes that I use. I use King Airs, I use Queens, and they have a very big, massive landing gear, and we're landing in very bad terrain down there in Colombia in the ground. So there's other airplanes that will do as good a job, a Titan, and that's one that comes to my mind. But the landing gear is very, very weak. Yeah, that's a Cessna, another one of my airplanes. I got into the aircraft business to cover my image. That's a landing strip that we would land. In between that is what we would have to hit. That's another story. You know how hard it is to find that damn.
These look like massive puddles here.
Yeah. And you really have to have a good luck charm, a rabbit foot, and a guardian angel to hit that place deep inside Colombia with no GPS. Okay, at the time, you're following a radio signal, and to hit a dead spot in the middle of the jungle that somebody carved out, a little strip. What we would
Fucking mad,
normally do
bro.
is, yeah, no, it's crazy, man.
And you're doing it all effectively with a map, like a big paper map, and like
Yeah, that idea. Yeah, that idea. Yeah, that idea. That basically that idea. There was no GPSs. The Loran did not go down there. So what we would do is we would stop off on the coastline and pick up a local pilot that knew the trees, that knew the rivers, and kind of like what some people call like a bush pilot, a guy that knows the
oh
terrain.
hell
And
yeah,
he normally, yeah, he guided us in. Once he guided us in and we landed on the strip, then he would stay on the ground, and then we fly out on our own. Because
yeah,
now we just, go north, go south. We didn't have to hit a spot. We're going to the Bahamas after that. I never flew the airplane into the United States. I always flew to the Bahamas, landed in the Bahamas, had a perimeter of military people that I paid very good money to offload me, and not offload me, security. I used my own team for offloading, and then I would transfer the product to speedboats, and I broke it up. I would put, let's say I'm doing 1,100 pieces, so it'd be like 500-600 on a speedboat, 500-600 on a pleasure craft. So to kind of like mix it up a little bit. I don't like to gamble, so I figured, I got to get this through. And then also another thing that I did different from a lot of people. Let me say this, man. I almost say this with pride, and I do, because after I got popped and everything, and I cut a deal after everybody went home, and I'm the last guy holding up a pillar, one of the things that the government that's one of my jets. That's a BB, stood for big bucks, and that's there. I'm flying $4 or $5 million to New York to launder my money with a group of individuals that control the diamond exchange in New York. And I would give them cash, and then they would put cash in my accounts in Liechtenstein, which is over there in Switzerland, monarchy. But yeah, so I don't know what before you flash that picture, you kind of drew a blank here.
that's right, that's right. So with
there's so much going on.
That's right. With these runways and with the small planes, and you trying to get your head around it all, you're taking in these consignments, you're splitting them up, and you're spreading them out, not putting all your eggs in one basket. And I imagine sometimes things don't go according to plan, right? And you're escaping by the skin of your teeth, right?
Well, yeah, which is really where I got a little sidetracked. Government told me that I was the only person in the industry that ever was able to accomplish all phases of it. Because I flew the plane, I drove the boat, I drove the car, I gave it to the Colombians, I got cashed out, and then I took the money and I sent it to Europe, brought it back in the form of checks, loans, and so I on hand did every face of it. Now I also did something a little different. I created, basically I ran my business like a corporation. What I did was, at one point I'm not flying anymore. At one point I'm not on the boats anymore. So now I'm kind of like that master of ceremony, the guy with a little stick, and I created an aircraft division. I created a marine division. I created a transportation online division. I created then an intelligence division to keep track of what the government's doing and keep track of who's getting busted and what's going on. And then I had heads of people in every department. Nice. And I would meet with the people of the department. Let's say that you were running my marine division, and it was up for you to go on and pick out the boats, pick out the pleasure crafts, the speedboats, and it was up to you to hire the captains that would manpower that boat, that craft. And then you obviously would bring me the information that was pertaining to the individual that we were looking to hire. So I get the last approval on that. I didn't want a guy that really had a family, no guys with drug habits, nobody. I did not know. After, listen, before we went on one of these trips, I tied all my guys off to the bed, milk and honey. After we come back, we partied hard in the Bahamas. I'm the first guy would take a kilo, put it on the table, bring back an airplane full of ladies, nice ladies. Why nice? Because we could afford nice. And then they partied for a couple of days. You know, I'm from the school, and I hate this ugly saying, but I don't shit where I eat. I don't go around, and
I get it.
creating issues.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it. I
So
get it.
the Bahamas, I own the Bahamas. Nothing there moved without me first checking with me. So I didn't have any problem with it because I had the government in my pocket. So let's party over there. We come back here. One of my pilots lives in Virginia, another one out there in Texas. So we kept there a low profile here. Now you would sit there and say to me, Jesus Christ, low profile, you're a Lamborghini guy. Yeah, I happen to be the franchise. And I come from a family with money, so it wasn't like I did anything different. My mom and my dad had already passed, but my mom didn't know. My sisters didn't know. I was married. She didn't know. It wasn't like I was. Yeah, that car was going for like $3 million at one point. The house in the back, I bought it for one of my boat captains. That's why that car is there. That's one of my black Lamborghinis. Yeah, I had four or five, Lamborghinis, each color. And it's funny because I matched the color of the car to the shirt that I was wearing. So I would call my place. I'm going to wear a black shirt tomorrow. Bring me the black Lamborghini. And it's just how that, just I had a little bit too.
Cars are wild, man. Like
Yeah. Those things they go for over $1 million today. Over $1 million. Those the Countaches. Yeah. The factory was dead broke, man. When I went over there to buy it, there was nothing going on in the factory. I couldn't even get the cars. That's why I decided to buy it. I love the car. Yeah, Countach. Yeah, badass car.
I like the way you say that, Countach. I like that.
Yeah, Countach, which means wow.
It means wealthy as a motherfudger is what it means, TJ. Okay, wealthy as a motherfucker. Okay, Countach is a made-up word for wealthy people. It sounds like money. Sounds like money.
Yeah. You see that car? That car was featured all the time. I did all the cars for Miami Vice, that TV show. That car was done in 24 karat gold. Everything, the spinners on there were 24 karat. The ashtrays inside were 24 karat. The buckle, the grill. That was a pride and joy.
It's interesting because it seems like in the two sides of you, right? We've got the personal life and then we've got the smuggler life, right? Both sides of those life are aspiring to very large and profitable businesses, if you see what I'm saying. It was very.
So
you were just a rascal that just couldn't just keep all the personal life, right? It was like an opportunistic thing.
And I'm a visionary. I mean, I was the biggest cell phone company in South Florida at the time. Transworld Communication was my company. People didn't even know what the hell a cell phone was. They were like, "Hey, how far away can you go from your base, your house?" They didn't know what that was, So.
Did you go through the car phone era?
I was the biggest car phone guy in South Florida.
How crazy!
Transworld Communication. People didn't know what a car phone was.
How crazy is it thinking back now in 2026 to the whole era of the car phone? Because I remember being a little kid, and I think one of my mum's partners growing up, he had a car phone, and he was very proud of his car phone. TJ, do you know what I'm saying? But what a wild step in technology it really was.
They were like $3,000 to $5,000. I was the number one Ericsson, JVC, Mitsubishi, Motorola. I represented all of those, and I was also one of the biggest beeper companies down here. Yeah. Beepers were a big thing before the cell phones. Yeah. I don't know if you remember those.
I remember. I owned a beeper, bro. Like I was there with you.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. So we've got the Lamborghini dealership. We've got. I mean, I imagine that comes with its own particular lifestyle as well. Let alone the secret. Yeah. The secret. The secret, because I mean, being a Lamborghini dealer, I mean, I think a lot of people would be like, well, actually, that's quite enough. That's quite enough now. But to add the smuggler undertone, and you've just told us about the Bahamas parties. I mean, you can't have been around many people who had topped the selling some of the incredible cars in the world, and now you're part of this underground network. What was it like when you first met Escobar?
Okay, I get kidnapped. Okay, I'm doing my weed thing. I get kidnapped because I owe some crazy ass Colombian $800,000. I didn't have it.
You're gonna have to tell us how you got into that situation first. You know what I'm saying? Escobar can wait another story. Escobar can wait another story, bro. You can't just be like,
Sounds good.
I owe you Colombians 800K and I got abducted, right?
Sounds like a plan. Okay, we can stop it there if you want. We can cut it off there, and then we can pick it up again. But that's really interesting.
Yeah,
that's really interesting how I made that transition over by force. I mean, Escobar was not in my picture. I didn't really care, but you'll hear it next time we get together.
Oh no! Listen. How much time have you got?
Oh, I could tell you that part if you want.
Oh, listen, what we'll do is we'll jump into the Escobar side of things, just so that we've got a little bit of that here, and then we can pick up. I would love for you to be able to take your time and go through all the segments, because you know yourself as well. As soon as you get off a podcast, you're like, oh God, there's 45 things that I should have mentioned, and it would be great to have you back. And
I would love to be back. And can I give a little shout out to? I'm not really good at all this stuff, I've never really been put in a situation like this. I always try to stay underneath the radar, needless to say, especially in that world. Other than the Lamborghinis and that kind of stuff, that I do enjoy. But a lot of this is made possible because of a guy by the name of Jonathan Walton. He I befriended me before, about maybe 20 years ago, somewhere along in between my prison. And he was a producer, a TV producer for the History Channel in the United States. And then when I came out, I wrote my book in prison, okay, in solitary confinement, where I spent 2 years and change in solitary by myself. And others. And oh my God. And sorry about that. It's a call coming in.
No, you're okay.
What happened? So yeah, I got sidetracked there with that.
That's okay.
So I get in trouble. With and then Jonathan Walton, who when I wrote the book, I was in prison. I sent it to him, and then he said, "Listen, when you get out, this is a story that needs to be told." And then he approached me. We got together, and he goes, "We're going to do a podcast." And I said, "Podcast?" I'm thinking some kind of cookware. What does cooking have to do? Because I don't even know what the hell a podcast was. I'm thinking like pots, made out of iron, whatever. And
wait till you see what a text message is. It's going to blow your mind. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
So I had no idea. So Jonathan Walton put together a podcast, and it was named Cocaine Air. Cocaine Air is on Jonathan Walton's. It says Cocaine Air, the podcast. We got ripped off, and another movie came out with Cocaine Air at 30,000 feet. And that keeps you away from going to court. But Jonathan did this before, and I'm proud to say that the podcast that he put together, Ron, became the number 5th or the top 10 of the whole year for Spotify worldwide. People were like really drawn to Cocaine Air. So I just wanted to, I wanted to let you know how I sit here, because to him, he's the one that made it. And I never wanted to tell the story. That's it right there, Cocaine Air. I never wanted to tell the story. This story first came to me when I was in prison by my lawyer, Fred Schwartz. He told me, he said, "Oh, really?" Because they offered me a deal to do Cocaine Cowboys. And then he said to me, "You're not even sentenced yet. You want to put yourself out there on TV before you go in front of the judge?"
I remember
and
that.
I said, Cocaine Air. That guy, that's all that. Yeah, that's all BS, man. I'll look at him right in the face and tell him, he never did all that shit. That's what annoys the hell out of me, how people, they lie. It's one thing that I've said before. It's easy to say, "I know Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar is dead. How could you? Is he going to come out of the grave and say, 'I don't know you'?" It's a whole different story when Pablo Escobar says he knows me. And that's something that in his book right here, that's Pablo's book, written by Roberto Escobar. And nothing to do with me. I get no financial benefit of this, none of that. But in this book that Roberto wrote about him and his brother, I'm all over that book, including my pictures. Yeah, and in your country, in Europe, I think it's called Escobar. And then this is a book that I wrote. And it's not going to be the cover. It's being edited right now. by a great guy, David and Gary Diamato, two great guys, and they're the ones that are like helping me out. Gotta remember, a couple of years ago, I was in prison still,
Yeah, man.
so
Yeah.
all of this is kind of new, and I came out dead broke, man. So I've been able to do it together. I put a company together called Miami Sun, and I'm gonna go public with this company. And I got a team of lawyers that are like really helping me, and we're doing this stuff. I sound like a commercial, but it's not really that.
Bro,
I'm proud of everything that I'm doing.
Commercial it up, bro. Tell us all about it. No, bring it back.
Yeah,
Bring it back.
yeah.
Let's see it.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, man.
Oh yeah, of
You
course.
see that? Yeah, it's sunscreen. People go, "Wow, you go from cars to I'm a builder to Yeah, I guess I cover the spectrum." But this is something that I thought about when I was in solitary confinement, and I entrusted my lawyer with it, and it's something that it'll never go away. As long as we have sun, it's a fun product. And then I got lip balms that I'm doing, and we're taking the company public, Miami Sun. And I got some everything. And by the way, I probably make the best partner anybody could have. You know why, Ron?
Because if anyone rips us off, you'll kidnap a fool and get our stuff back. That's right. Okay.
No. I've been down that road, Ron. We don't do that anymore. I can't afford that. No, but listen, I got a lawyer. His name is Fred Short. Before I get up out of bed, I call him up. Do I get off the left side of the bed or the right side? I don't even get up on the fence. I cover my ass so well that I don't want to do anything wrong. I stay way far away from stupid stuff. And the future looks really bright with Miami Sun. Look, let me just show you if I can. It's a matter of fact, you give me your address, I'll send you some samples for you.
We don't get sun here, bro. I live in Scotland. If you do something for grey clouds, sure, but absolutely, I'll take some. I'll take some.
I'll send you some for free. Yeah, the real deal.
I tell you what, I'm not going to turn down a bit of history like that for sure.
I actually drew everything. I did all the artwork myself, and I wanted to do something that would take a life of itself. And maybe if God up there finds it that I could do what it's in my mind, when it's all said and done and I check out of this place, they won't remember me just for being a smuggler. They'll remember me for being that guy with the suntan lotion business.
Or like an evil marketing plan that ties everything in over social media on TikTok and Instagram.
Thank you.
That hooks people in. Because I'll tell you something else. Right? There was a movie right out a few years ago called Con Air, right? And it's a shame. It's a shame that Cocaine Air doesn't abbreviate down as well as Con Air.
Yeah, you're right.
That would have been a different podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a great idea there, but I mean, with you only being out of prison a couple of years, trust me.
Right. Yeah.
All of the old school marketing stuff is it's gone now, man.
It's gone. Yeah, it's about learning everything.
You already have the hook with the Pablo Escobar and the smuggler. It's now reforming that, adding just a little whisper of that into your marketing hooks and getting people drawn to you. And that's what's
I'm kind of glad that you did this, because let me tell you, this is the first time, Ron, right here with you. And I've done a few podcasts, but this is the first time that I wore this shirt with a lot of pride, and I actually talked about what I'm doing. First time, because I was afraid to be judged by people and then have some people say, well, I don't want to do, this guy is like, blah, blah, blah. And no, man, I'm just an average guy, with a good idea and a good plan, and I just want to do everything right. So I didn't know whether or not to tie myself in with the product line, and then my lawyer said, if you're going to be involved, you have to divulge your criminal record if you're going to go public, which is something that I was tossing around with. One guy said to me,
TJ, in 2026, okay, I know what you're thinking about traditional business and the stigma of criminality. In 2026 on social media, you previously being Pablo Escobar's pilot is the hook to bring people into your product. It's so to you, it's completely mundane, but to everyone else, it's like, holy shit, this is really fat. And he sells what? Okay, do you see what I'm saying?
That's the part that I don't know, because I'm learning now how to spell social media. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's honestly, a whole world that's different.
I would be leaning into doing a lip balm that's just a white lip balm that's just called the white stuff, right? Just call it the white stuff, right? I put just call it the white stuff, bro. You know how many, you know how much white stuff you can sell on social media. That's what you need to call your business. It needs to be called the white stuff, and that's it, bro. Because that would sell rapid. And people would remember that too. It would stick in people's head. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro.
I'm daring, but I'm not that daring.
$1 million idea right there, man. It's $1 million idea right there, brother.
That's funny. That's funny.
It's too good. Well, look, I'm so here for any stages of this that you want the platform to come and showcase the next stages of your business, to come and talk more about your whole story.
You invite me back. I enjoyed actually this session with you, and I really appreciate you letting me talk about Cocaine Air and you know and then my product. First time I've ever done it, you know. And you tell me when you want me to come back. You made it very easy for me. You made it very relaxing and very comfortable. I really appreciate treating me like a regular guy.
I Uncle Escobar's lip balm. Yeah, keep the ideas coming in, man. Keep the ideas coming in, bro. Like,
I don't know about that one though.
By the time you come here next, I'll have a GoFundMe set up for the white stuff product. We'll just get it funded. Okay, you can just go on the cover of it like this, just going. All right.
As long as they buy some of the shares when I go public, I'll be okay. It's gotta be clean money. I don't want cash. I've been down that road. So, you gotta be in the form of a check.
Hell yeah. Well, what I'll do is I'll make sure Shane either sets up a WhatsApp group or an email or something. But what I'll do is I'll get him to contact you over the next 36 hours to get the next episode. And we'll push this.
We'll do it again.
I would love to more. I'd love to delve in more. I think you've laid down.
Oh wow! Check out my website. Check out my MiamiSunCare.com. Check that out. It shows our product line. It shows our shirts. We're gonna come out with bathing suits.
What was the web address?
MiamiSunCare.com. That's our webpage. I designed all of it.
Okay.
My mom was an artist, so I'm pretty artistic.
Yeah, I'm just struggling with basic spelling right now. Miami
Suncare.com.
I'd missed out the E from care because words are hard. Here we go. All right. Oh my God. You can't listen. You can't be telling me, right? You can't. Hang on a second. You can't be telling me, right, that this this was an accident, right, on your website. Like, I'm not being funny, right?
Yeah, I designed that. There's the airplane. There, what you doing? What you're gonna be dropping bomb lift?
What's in that suitcase? What's in that suitcase? What's on that plane, DJ?
The plane left already.
Hell yeah. It looks sick, bro. It looks so sick.
Thank you, man. Yeah. And I drew that little guy. That little guy, I drew him. He's like a little mascot.
I'm telling you, man, give me 6 months and I'll have the white stuff up and running with this, man. Okay.
You handle the white stuff. I'm going to stick to the other stuff.
Hell yeah. It's too funny, bro.
Oh my God.
There's a link to TJ's website for anyone who wants to go and have a look.
Thank you.
I'll make sure the links are in the description as well. Listen, this is a very exciting first step into more conversations. I can't wait. I can't wait.
And then I did this other thing that they told me that I must do. Jonathan Wong from the Cocaine podcast, Cocaine Air. He said, you got to do an Instagram page. What the hell is Instagram, man? So, all right. So now I know I have a Instagram page.
Who's helping you? Who's helping you build this empire? Is it just the lawyers?
No, me, a couple of buddies that I asked for advice. No, just, man, on a wing and a prayer. Basically it's all coming out of my head. And then I have a lawyer that was an incredible guy, Fred Shorts. I owe him my freedom. Right.
Okay.
And I can't talk too much about him because I'm going to break down. That's how much he means to me. He was the head of the United States of America of Organized Crime Task Force, federal prosecutor, the top of his class, where the president named him the head of the organized crime. Then he went private. And when he went private, I was fortunate to have been put in front of him, and he was my savior. He was
Yeah.
able to turn the government from hating me to, hey, he ain't that bad. Look, and then I forfeited all my assets, so I came out dead broke. But I had my
Mm.
freedom. I have my freedom, and that's more valuable. And to those young guys that are out there listening, there's nothing like freedom, buddy. There's got no
Mhm.
price, no price. And what you pay in sacrifices, it's not worth what I did. It's just not worth it. The things that you cause the pain to the wives, to the sisters, to the moms, to the dad, the embarrassment. The highs
Mhm.
are really high. I won't tell you anything different. If somebody says, well, what would you change in your life? The only thing that I would have changed in my life would have been getting popped because
Right.
everything else is great. But the
Oh
getting
yeah.
popped part was really bad.
Oh, yeah, brother. Listen. I think how long have you been doing the lip balm stuff and the Miami Sun?
Now I've been out for 2, 3 years. I've been on it now, and no money. So I had to basically start with, I have a girlfriend that loaned me a couple of dollars. My sister's been like like Mother Teresa, and everybody kind of like putting their best foot forward to help me get back on track. And I'm going to turn this thing. Ask me back here in 2 years, and I'm going to turn this thing into $1 billion company.
Bro, listen, all I'm saying, right, is once you get your head right, once you see other people who are from the same similar background as you and how
Mhm.
they merge everything together and use that as a hook to sell products, like
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them.
you'll have
I've seen
some
them do that.
interesting decisions to make because again, it may just be the case that you've got the personal life and then you've got a persona that turns your business into seven-figure
No,
freaking
I'm going to go beyond
online.
7 figures. I'm going to go, when I go public, I'm taking this. I just came back from 4 months in Dubai, a
Mm.
month in Montenegro. I've got a buddy of mine that's like my brother, Milos. He's Serbian, and I love this guy. He's probably listening to this shit right now. He really is. He's just a crazy guy that said to me, Tito, come here. I can make dreams come true,
Yeah.
legitimately. And he's put me in touch with people that are going to go ahead and take Miami Sun to the next level. And
Hell yeah.
he's been like what can I say, that angel, in my life. He really has been. Looked out after me. It's
Yeah.
great.
Well, look, I would love to try some of your lip balms. So I would, if
I'm,
if
I'm
the
gonna
offer
send it
comes
to you.
right,
I'm
yeah,
gonna send you some.
I'll get Shane to get my
Give me an
details.
address.
That would
Yeah,
be sick. That would be so sick, bro.
you made
Like,
my visit very, very comfortable, man. You really did. I almost
well,
felt like I was sitting here with a family member.
well, good. That's what I like about my job. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's through the wonders of the internet that we can all connect together. And I think, especially people like yourself, you've gone through an interesting life. You've served
Yeah,
your time. You've come back out.
yeah, I did.
You're trying to
Yeah,
rebuild your life. And why
yeah,
shouldn't it
right.
feel like a conversation and a step in a room with a friend? It should be like that, you know.
Yeah, and one of the things that I would like to share with schools and children coming up, not everything that glitters is gold, man. Stick to school, stick to a plan, develop it, and stay away from the nonsense and all that garbage because the downside is painful. 2 years in solitary confinement, phone calls, 10 minutes once a month, and the guards would say to me, nobody home, try next month.
Right.
Showers every 3 days. And I was by myself. I forgot what I looked like. I had to see myself in the toilet water. The
Mm.
toilet was such high security, I couldn't even flush my own toilet. And these are the stories that I haven't really told because they're not fun to talk about. They're
Well, this
very
is it.
painful.
It's the. I mean, we've all seen the glitz and glams of the Hollywood perspectives of everything we
Yeah.
go through, right? And it's very rarely do we get to see the depiction of the reality of when it all blows up in your face. And
Yeah.
I think
And
that's because
it's important to say that.
that's the realest part, TJ, for you. I mean,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the glitter titties and the freaking yayo and all of that, like that's one
Yeah,
thing,
it's a
right?
lot of fun, yeah. But
But
but there's a downside to that.
and it's almost like that's where the everything comes crushing home and there's shame and embarrassment and it's like where do we go from here, But you've come out in 2026, bro. You've come out in the era of like social media and rebuilding yourself, and
Right.
it's amazing what social media can do, even for crazy guys that look like Jeffrey Epstein from Palm Beach, right? Palm Beach Pete, bro. Like, I'm not being funny, right? Like, all jokes aside, that guy looks a lot like Jeffrey Epstein, got spotted, and has turned it into an entire career. You know what I'm saying? Is it him? I don't know. I don't know if it is. I mean, I really don't. But
I agree with you.
What a story, right? And it's that's the world we live in now.
So powerful. But I don't know how to do it, so, you point me in a direction, I sure would appreciate it. I got people that are like pointing me, but it's all like back when I was smuggling, it was like a one-on-one. It wasn't like a smuggling book that I could go down to the local library and buy, so I made a lot of mistakes in that, but I'm a quick study. I learn from the mistakes, so.
Yeah, sorry, I just had some random music start playing on my computer there. I just had to deal with it.
Right,
I just managed to deal with it. But I mean, that's the thing, and I think with everybody that you've got laid out, I mean, you've got a crazy Serbian behind you, bro. Like a Serbian business partner goes a long way in 2026. Do you know what I'm saying? Comes with a bit of gravitas. You know what I'm saying? So, we're meeting the Serbian today, are we? Right? Everyone be polite.
Yeah. No, he turned me on to got another guy named Nicky. Nicky is like a sweetheart. Nicky is the guy that served. Yeah, I call him Serb. He's Milos, my brother, and he introduced me to Nicky, and then Nicky brought me into his partner, and now we're taking this thing to the next level. It's really exciting times, man.
Well, look, what I'm going to do is I'll get Shane to fire over some date. What's your weekly Sundays like? What you do? What's life like on a Sunday for you?
I'm a workaholic. I sleep 4 hours in 24s. That's all right. That's why I don't never try cocaine, because I don't want to stay up for weeks and days at a time.
Listen, I don't know what legal document you've signed where if you admit to taking this, you go back to jail. But I ain't buying.
No. That's bullshit. No, you don't have to buy it. I got no holds on me. I'm done with probation, parole. I'm done with the feds. I'm done. It's they went that way and I went this way, and sayonara. I'm good. I don't. And everything that I've said to you is a matter of public record.
Yeah. Listen. Oh yeah. Well, listen. I mean, listen. What are they going to do? Phone me up and be like, "We want to tell you off for talking to this guy." We're like, "Nah. I'm out of your jurisdiction, mister." You know what I'm saying?
Come to Scotland. We'll talk about that.
Come to Scotland. For sure, man. I just need to put up the Countach one more time. It's going to be a long time before I get to say the word Countach again. It's a great one.
That's great.
But look, what we'll do is I've been trying to set something up for a Sunday for the last few weeks. So maybe I'll speak to Shane. I'll get some dates sent across, and we can get.
For me, the better from Monday to Friday is better for me, because the weekend sometimes I'll go out with my girlfriend or something like that. I don't do much. I'm not that exciting anymore, but I'm working on getting excitement back in my life.
Yeah, well, listen, not too much. Keep it limited, right?
No, whatever whatever I do, it's all legal. It's all right through the legal department.
It's going to be like one of those movies, when like somebody's got like they're trying to give up smoking or whatever, and like the movie cuts to someone holding a cigarette, and there's like intense music, then it cuts back. That's going to be like you at a boat sale one day, where you're just going to be like, "I'm just going to look at the boats. I'm just going to look at them."
I do. I double check everything. I really do. I don't even want to engage in a conversation that's stupid. Because I just I live in a glass house. So I can't afford to be throwing stones.
Oh yeah, you can. Well, listen, TJ. This is the first of many chats, and I just want to thank you for giving up your time, being so honest and open, and just giving us such a detailed insight into everything that was before. We've gotten up to effectively right where you're starting on the plains and going into meet Pablo. That's where we'll pick up next.
Why I get kidnapped?
You need to find out about the $800K worth of Colombian debt. Is that story?
Right? Get kidnapped. Yeah, I got kidnapped, and they killed my partner. By the way, the Colombians down there, they kidnapped me, and shot and killed my partner. Okay. That's where I came to another fork in the road. Do I go that way or this way? That was easy. Either I die or I go do something else. Yeah. So I'll tell you all about that. That's what puts me on the road to Pablo.
I imagine Shane will get in touch with you after the show
Okay.
or tomorrow, and we'll get that set up.
Okay.
We'll try and avoid as much. I'll try and fit everything in to Monday to Friday as I can. I've got another person who books my shows.
Thursday will be fine. You know,
we can figure it all out, and I'll send dates over to you. You can pick and choose which ones you want, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you so much, Ron. It was a pleasure sitting here with you, and I thank you very much for the time that you have allowed and the humor. I appreciate the humor.
listen, life's too serious, man, and
right.
You've got to remember as well. To you, it's prison and trauma and a life that's no longer there. To us, it is so fascinating, man. Like your whole existence is just so
yeah. Ask me about one of the incidents next time when we talk about the money. What was it like? I'm being chased by a helicopter and being shot at with a 50 caliber machine bullet, tracer bullet going over my head. 2 speedboats jumping out of the water, going 89 miles per hour.
Fucking awesome, DJ.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Freaking pretty damn cool. Is what that is.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I've been replaying that in slow motion with different soundtracks every night.
The bullets are going right over you. They got tracers on you, so you see them. We're bouncing up to the helicopter, trying to take the engines out, shooting the engine in the back of the boat. It was a hell of a ride, man.
I kind of wish you had like a camera phone back then. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, we might need to put some scenes together with AI just to replay everything.
That was pretty thrilling.
It would be awesome. It really would.
Yeah, we're all wearing earpieces, FM. So I got 3 guys on this boat. I got 3 guys on what I call my shadow boat, which is wherever he's got nothing. So wherever I go, he goes. And we're sitting there back and forth screaming. And one guy that I know is still alive, and I talked to him, Johnny Phillip. He's a great guy. He was on the boat, and then everybody's screaming, "We're gonna blow up! We're gonna die! They're gonna kill it!" Because on these boats, on the rail, the side of the boat, we put fuel. It's called rail tanks. So if any one of the bullets hits that, we're a bomb. We're carrying 400, 500 gallons, 600 gallons of fuel. So it was pretty thrilling.
Yeah, man, it sounds awesome, and like I say, it's easy to sit here and say it sounds awesome. Obviously, it was terrifying and traumatic, and just a lot, you know.
But I like that. I like that moment. I don't panic in those moments. Any one of my guys that you ever would talk to, they would tell you, I'm the guy saying, "We're not stopping. We're not stopping. You want to stop? Jump. They'll pick you up. We're not stopping." I just came off of Dubai with the missiles, ballistic missiles and all that. My kids are like, "You're gonna come home, Dad." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I've done a lot of crazy things in my life, but I've never been in the middle of a drone bombing and ballistic missiles. This is really cool."
Wild, TJ, wild, mate. Well, look, listen, I thank you so much, and we'll see you again. And just have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you again, brother.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my friend.
No problem. Thank you to everybody at home. I'm going to be live on TikTok for the first time tonight, so the link is in the description. The link, if you go down to the bottom right here on the link tree onto the TikTok, you will be able to come and join us. Ron's first live on TikTok. We will see. But listen, thank you so much, TJ, and everyone who's watching. Thank you too. We'll see you next time, and peace. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.